The identity crisis was fostered by Chuvalo's insistence he continue boxing past his prime, still chasing a title that would never be his. A once noble pursuit had become ugly.
People would say things all the time.
Like what?
Your father's a bum. Your father's tough, but he can't really fight. Your father eats a lot of leather. Your father's a tough guy, but my dad could have beaten him. If somebody wants a notch in their belt, they're going to come after you. And they came after my brothers.
They came after your brothers?
Yes.
In what way?
Oh, I'd see people who were much more mature than my brothers, physically mature, pick on them, call them all kinds of cruel names, goad them into things, you know. And then when my brothers, you know, for lack of a better phrase, took care of business, they'd be demonized.
George Chuvalo's broad shadow was a difficult one for his children to live in. Even after he quit fighting, he was constantly in the public eye.
George Chuvalo presents Famous Knockouts!
A flurry of punches, and the referee stops the fight. Canada's George Chuvalo scores a fifth-round knockout over Mexico's Manuel.
For a while, George hosted a syndicated boxing show on TV with some of his old cronies. But like some of his other business ventures, it wasn't very successful. However, George discovered a little talent for acting. In The Fly, George played a perfect barroom thug.
Hey, pal, you're disturbing us.
I got $100 says I can beat either one.
Take a hike, asshole. All right, you zombies, now sit down and shut up.
In Prom Night 3, a Hollywood slasher film, George had a big part and wore a loud suit.
For the rest of the semester, folks might find it a challenge. What'd you say, Dr. Gray?
Always up for a challenge, sir.
Movie roles have helped to keep George in the spotlight, and he still makes frequent personal appearances at boxing events. At tonight's dinner in Los Angeles, the star attraction is Jerry Quarry, a beloved contender who is being inducted into the World Boxing Association Hall of Fame. In 1969, Irish Jerry Quarry took on George Chuvalo, the bookmaker's favorite Quarry. But George beat the odds with that famous left hook.
And Quarry is down. Quarry taking the mandatory 8 count.
The fight came to a controversial end when a dazed Quarry lost track of the count and jumped up an instant too late. Jerry Quarry said he was robbed. For George, it was one of his last big victories.
Quarry stayed down too long.
Many people in tonight's audience remember that dramatic finish 28 years ago.
Canadian heavyweight contender George Chuvalo. Ladies and gentlemen, the greatest of the great white hopes, Jerry Quarry.
Jerry Quarry and George Chuvalo were a lot alike. Both contenders, never champs, who had a lot of heart. But tonight's spotlight shines on boxing's dirty secret. Jerry Quarry is a casualty of the sport. He took too many punches in the ring. He is the classic punch-drunk fighter. It has a new name now, dementia pugilistica, but the effects are the same. Tonight, George watches as an old adversary struggles to make any sense at all.
I've been in the ring many times, and I've enjoyed every one of them. But the situation is not exactly prompt right at this given time. So God bless all of you. George left the ring in remarkable physical and mental condition,
But he too would pay a terrible price, which no one saw coming until it was too late.
I remember when my dad called me up when I was 25 years old. I was living out of town. And he told me that my brothers were using heroin. And I foresaw the death of my brothers then because I had known, hanging around the boxing gym, the rogues gallery that it is, people, you either quit heroin or you die. And I knew then that most probably someone in my family was going to die.
3 of the Chuvalo boys became regulars in Toronto's West End hardcore drug scene. They turned to crime to support their drug habits. Stephen Chuvalo.
I basically stuck the needle in and never took it out. I spent every bit of money that I had. When I talk about myself and my 2 younger brothers, we've all kind of had a sense of hopelessness to us, you know, that we almost have this sense of feeling worthless, and where it comes from, I don't know, you know. I don't know, but I've had it for years.
People look at your family and say, what was going on? What happened to those children? That things in one family could go so wrong for so many people. Is there an answer to that question?
I didn't grow up in the perfect family. However, I know us kids were never abused. You know, we knew we were loved. As far as blaming one single factor, I can't. I could never pinpoint that.
Jesse Chuvalo, the youngest boy, was fragile and had been in therapy. He spent some time in reform school and seemed angry all the time. Heroin provided temporary respite, but no solution. At just 20, he walked into his room at the Chuvalo family house and shot himself.
I remember laying on a couch downstairs, and I woke up, and it's like this, like everything you breathe in is grief, and whatever you exhale is, you know, whatever it is, but you're inhaling grief. And every time you go up, you swell up, you're blowing up with it, you're blowing up with it. You just can't believe that your son is dead. You just can't believe that your son has died. And we're all walking around numb and stunned and, you know, trying to grope and feel and hold on. But my kids who lost a brother had a difficult time, especially Georgie Lee and Stephen.
Georgie and Stephen were now heroin addicts, junkies. They overdosed time and time again. Their father played the role of guardian angel, trying desperately to make things right.
My dad spent quite a few years chasing my brothers and I around the city, Georgie and I in particular, and dragging us out of drug houses and heroin houses and, basically just trying to keep us alive.